We've looked at getting data into Excel from CSV files, from Excel files, and from Access databases. But sometimes when the source exceeds like 50,000 rows, to load that into Excel is going to have a real detrimental effect on the performance of the Excel file. It just is going to slow it right down. So sometimes I don't want to load the data, I actually just want a connection to the source data. And let's look at that. So if I went to data and I said I wanted to get data from a file, and again, it can be any file, and in this case, I'm going to get it from an Excel workbook. And let's say I choose the workbook financials and I import. Instead of clicking the load button, notice there's a drop down on the load button. So I'm going to click on the financials table. I'm going to hit this drop down and choose the option load to. Here I can say I want to create a connection. And I want to add this data to the data model. That saves me doing it later. So often we do this when the data exceeds 50,000 rows. And OK. And there's my query there showing as financials. No, it hasn't loaded into a sheet because that would defeat the whole purpose of creating a connection. But if I do go to Power Pivot and I do go to Manage, I can see that financials has been loaded into my Power Pivot. I've got another Excel workbook that I'd like to create a connection only to. So I'm going to switch back to Excel. I'm going to go to Data, Get Data from File from Excel Workbook or from Workbook, and it's called Product Costs. So I click the Import option. And then at this point where I get the Load button, I'm going to choose what I want to import, which is the Product Cost sheet. I'm going to hit the drop down and choose Load To. I want the option Only Create a Connection and add it to my data model, and OK. So consider using or adopting that approach when you have a source data that is very, very large.